What is up, guys? It's Mike from House of Dooley, and this video is all about Project EgoBruise. We're getting back into it. It's all about this custom radiator I had made from DeWitts. We're gonna check it all out right now, so stay tuned. It's gonna be awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it's hot. It's really hot, guys. Like, I've been out here, I don't know, just a few minutes, and I'm just sweating. And anyways, it's been hot here in Texas. It's been over 100, like pretty much every day for the last month or so. It's been really hard to get some work done on Project EgoBruise, but that's not an excuse. As usual, we're gonna go over everything that I've done, anything new on the EgoBruise. We're gonna talk a little bit about the cooling system here on my blue car because it is hot outside, and then we're gonna go over the cooling system here on Project EgoBruise. We're gonna go the whole cooling system, why I had a custom radiator made by DeWitts, and why we're not using a factory, style Foxbody radiator on my setup. So that's all coming up. I just cracked it open. I haven't pulled it out and looked at it. I promise you, so we're gonna look at this together. But before we do that, let's talk real quick about my Blue 86 turbo car here. Guys, you know how long I have been complaining about the cooling system in this car, okay? Or I thought it was cooling system. Now, it never has overheated, but you know the lengths that I've gone through for the last 2, 3, maybe even 3 years of trying to keep this car cool when it's this hot outside. Now, we're talking about 100 plus degrees, AC on, trying to keep the AC on full blast and driving around in slow stop and go traffic. The car gets up to about 210, 215. That's too hot for me. I don't like it. I've spent, as you know, countless time and money on the cooling system here. We have DeWitt's 3-inch radiator they made for me for this car. This is a massive radiator. I did not get this big radiator for EgoBruise here, but as you can see here, I'm now running a Durali fan. That still did not fix my cooling issue. Mike, why are you holding an air dam? Hey guys, okay, you're right, I was wrong. How many of you out there told me I should be running an air dam? I had kind of a semi-quasi aluminum piece down there, but I was gonna make a whole entire video just on air dams alone. Guys, the air dam is so important. And you're all saying, no shit, Mike, I told you it was important. Listen, I didn't necessarily believe it. I'm going to take 5 seconds right here before we talk about EgoBruise and the cooling system to talk about why these are so important on your Foxbody Mustang. Let me tell you how these work. This car, right before Fox Fest, was running 210, 215. On the highway, didn't matter. You'd be cruising. Once it got up to temp and got heat soaked, it would never cool off. Right before I went out and bought actually a piece of plastic from Lowe's and a strip about this long and just stuck it on the car because I knew I was going to be traveling in 100 plus degree weather all the way to Fox Fest and back. And let me tell you, oh my God, the whole way there, the car was barely running 180 degrees because of this. No changes other than that to the coolant system. I was floored. Why did that work? Let me tell you something here. This right here does not create an airflow up to your radiator. Your radiator core is here. This bolts to your radiator core. Your radiator is actually right behind it, right? It's right here. But there's no way for air to get up into the core from this piece because it's in front of it. Now, you may be thinking, well, this sits behind the radiator, and when air hits this from the ground, it pushes up into cool air up in front of your radiator and helps cool it off. It's not how it works. See, when you're driving, you create a high pressure system within your engine bay because it's closed off. You've got air moving underneath the car, you've got air moving on the top of your car, and you've got what basically a pressure bubble that's sitting inside of your engine bay. Now, cowl hoods help a little bit, helps kind of evacuate some of the heat out the top. That's the purpose of them. But these aftermarket ones, are a lot of them just for looks. They don't do a lot of function. And on top of that, you add turbo system and a lot of heat components. What you're doing is you're creating a heat bubble inside your engine bay, and it's just circulating. This creates a low pressure on the bottom of your car. When this bolts at the bottom of the car, you're basically putting a wall, okay, right below your car. What that wall creates is a low pressure system underneath your car. The high and the low causes the high to go to the low and suck out that heat. So what it does, you put this underneath your car, it causes the heat to be sucked out of the engine bay underneath the car and evacuate. And when you suck the heat out in the engine bay, you now can draw air into the grill, fresh air, and help kind of evacuate some of that bubble. It's amazingly effective. It's the reason why Ford put these on these cars in a lot of the 80s and then the Aero nose style bodies back in the day. It's for this reason, guys. And I was a skeptic at a small air dam back there. I decided to try out for Fox Fest, and literally my cooling system woes have been corrected. It's 100 something degrees. Now if I stop, it's, you know, you're relying on the fan at that point. Anything over about 35 miles an hour, this should start taking effect and start pulling air away from the car, out of the engine bay and through your grill, okay? It works. I'm not joking. I can now drive this car, and as long as I'm on the freeway, if it starts getting warm, I can take this thing out. Anything over 45 miles an hour, engine cools off immediately back down to 180 and stays nice and cool. So I'm thrilled. I'm super thrilled. So that's big news. I was gonna make a whole video just on this, but I explained it, okay? You get it, understand it, use your air dam, don't pull them off because they look stupid. They're 100% functional. I put one on my wife's 92 because she didn't have one, and I've got one here for EgoBruise as well. Let's look at this radiator. Let's talk EcoBoost. All right, Project EgoBruise, we've got some plastics on it. We got a lot of things mounted. Don't look at this, okay? Ignore the Volvo power steering pump we have on the side here with a remote reservoir up top. Ignore that. Today is all about cooling. Now, as you can see here, I've got a factory style Foxbody radiator here from SVE. This is an LMR, your LMR special in black. Looks very good. It's got the SVE logo up on the front. Nothing wrong with this radiator except that it's got a radiator cap on it. Now you may be wondering why I reached out to DeWitts. My friends at DeWitts hooked me up with a custom radiator specifically for my build. Let's talk about that real quick. EcoBoost and Coyote, Godzilla, any of your modern engines, even your 4.6, your 5.4s, are going to have a different type cooling system when you have a bladder or overflow tank that's separate from the radiator, and how Ford bleeds it off and actually fills it from a separate tank instead of a radiator cap. Now you can convert these into a standard style pressurized with a system on the cap and get rid of the system here, but I actually went out of my way to keep the system exactly like Ford would have had this inside of a Mustang engine bay from a 2015 Mustang. To do that though, these radiators, if you look at an S550 radiator, they don't have radiator caps on them because again the cap is on your overflow tank, your bladder tank up here. And on top of that, they also have a little bit different configuration. You still need to have a return here, basically exactly where this is, but without the cap on it. So there's a couple things I asked DeWitts to make for me, but it benefits you guys doing Coyote swaps, Godzilla swaps, 5.4 swaps, Terminator, 4.6, 4-valve, 3-valve, yada yada, blah blah blah, because this same radiator configuration can be ordered from them without a cap, and you can use a factory style system that Ford intended to use on these cars, okay? That's pretty cool. There's a couple things. Let's talk. I asked DeWitts to do really 4 special things to this radiator, and again why I wanted it custom. I'm using my old DeWitts radiator here, but the first thing I asked them to do is put the tabs on top and bottom of the core here, so that you can use your factory style straddles here, or your cradles that cradles the radiator to the core. So unlike this one here, I had to kind of create my own brackets. I wanted to use the factory style brackets, and I know it has been a request. A lot of you guys has asked me and has asked DeWitts they wish they would do with their radiators. So all the radiators are custom made. They're all custom made to order in the USA, 100% USA made. These are not fabbed out overseas, and the quality you get is going to be top notch. If you really want a top notch cooling system, you go with them. But they didn't have the raised factory brackets like you see here on the SVE. I wanted that added so that we can use these factory brackets for that factory clean look, as well as on the bottom you've got your rubber cradle on the bottom of your core that this thing will sit into. So with those tabs, they'll sit into the factory location without having to fabricate any kind of brackets. That makes it easier for you guys and anyone else dropping these things in a Foxbody. So that's the number one thing I asked them to add to my custom radiator. The second thing I've asked them to do is on an EcoBoost motor, you've got 1.25 on the top and a 1.25 on the bottom. Now a factory Ford, factory Foxbody style radiator is going to have a 1.25 inlets and a 1.5 inch outlet. So as you can see here, this isn't going to fit, of course, without getting an adapter or a stepped hose or something like that, because this is a factory Ford lower radiator hose, and of course it doesn't fit. So that's another thing I asked them to do is create a outlet that was 1.25 on the top and bottom to fit the factory style Ford lower radiator hose. So that's pretty cool. That's number 2. Number 3 I asked was the black coating. Now DeWitts does offer black coating. You can see the 2 I've got here in my 86 are in the raw aluminum, okay? So I wanted it black because that's the theme we're kind of keeping with EgoBruise here. It's going to be avalanche gray, it's going to be black, And so that's one thing that is. So this is going to come out with a black look. I can already kind of see it there. So that's going to be cool. Can't wait to check that out. I asked him to go ahead and also keep the cooling here, because I might cap them, but I may actually use these to run the power steering line from the Volvo pump into here, kind of like I did on this car. I'm using the automatic cooler to cool the power steering lines. But if I don't do that, that's not really a problem. But I may run an automatic in this one day. And if I ever switch the car to a 6R80 or 10R80, on one of the ports there for an automatic, so I can run the cooling system and convert it. So that's another thing I asked him to do. But lastly, I asked him to go ahead and create basically a return line in the factory location, but without the cap. So what they needed to do is put one of these return lines in right here, so that way, you know, this can go to the purge degas bottle and then have the factory location return into the top of the radiator without having the cap there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this awesome radiator. Now DeWitts makes all their radiators basically from scratch. They're all made in America. They're custom made in-house. When you order, they're made to order, and they're 100% made here on shore. So this is not stamped, rebranded Chinese junk by any means. Whenever you get a radiator from DeWitts, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a quality radiator for life. I love them. I love the one in that one. It's been great. Oh, look at this. Oh, yes. Man, look at that black finish. All right, let's get this out of the way. Sweet. So here we are, man. So check this out. Capless. Right there. Okay, cap would have gone right here. Cap is gone. All right. Check it out. Custom radiator. That's right, Mod Motor guys, capless custom radiators. We've got, looks like we got tabs on the bottom with a factory fan shroud. That's cool. We've got the tabs there for the factory straddles. We got 1.25 inch inlets, 1.25 inch outlet there, and we've got the black ice coating along with the coolant lines as well. Now this is a 2 1/4 inch core, and I believe it's 2 core with 1 inch and maybe 1.5, I can't remember, but I think it's 1 inch core tube. So the cooling capacity in this thing is going to be more than enough for a little EcoBoost engine here. Sweet. But what you can see here is when you order something like this, you get a sheet from DeWitts. And if you want to order this is the actual radiator part number for the standard 293 Mustang. So that's the part number, except I marked off everything I wanted done to it, you know, with the cap delete, the smaller outlet tube, and then, you know, adding this return right here. So they did a perfect job, and of course adding these tabs as well. But they did a perfect job with this, and we're going to go ahead and test fit this now. Pull out the SVE one, see how it fits. On the earlier cars, this is a 1/2 inch bolt holding these in, but on the I think 85 and up, this is a 10 mil bolt. Just how Ford kind of started mixing the metric versus standard on the cars. Nothing wrong with this radiator, it's basically brand new. Up and out, Jimbo. There we go. All right, real quick side by side here. Dimensionally, they are the same, of course. Yeah, I do like how much surface area their core utilizes in the SVE. You can see how much bigger the tanks are on the DeWitts versus the SVE as well. But you definitely see the core size, you know, a little bit thicker here on DeWitts. And yeah, not bad. But let's plop this in. Okay, man. Let's put it in. Out with the old and in with the new, man. I'll squeeze it over here. Come on, squeeze over. Let's see here. Okay, that is a nice tight fit. Let's see how these cradles work here. Okay, it is definitely a tight fit, but it fits. These are straddling the cradles really good. This thing is like, I mean, it's going to shake the car. It's so solid right now. It's not in there. It is in there so tight, which is good. That's what we want. It is very tight. We're good to go. So now we can go ahead and get these hoses on. This hose can probably be clipped, since the radiator is actually a little bit, you know, a little bit thicker than the SVE one. I could probably cut this hose a little bit more. I'm going to leave it like this for now, just to give me more room here until I know how the degas bottle is going to fit. But yeah, see, it curves out. This got a little bit of pinch right here. Don't really like that. So we'll cut that later, but put that hose on. Now let's check. Oh yeah, check the bottom hose. Make sure the factory bottom hose fits here, because that was one of the greatest things about getting this thing customized. So I wanted to leave room. So down here we've got intercooler piping. This is gonna have to snake around to the front of the intercooler, which will be mounted here soon as well. Get that thing test fitted. But let's see here. We're gonna decide if we want to go under the intercooler piping or over it. So I think in this case, if we can, let's just see how this fits here. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. That's a nice fit. Man, look at that, guys. It's like meant to be. Seriously, the little radiator hose is right on. I don't have any clamps on this, so hopefully I'll not forget that when it comes to final assembly. Now we get to talk degas bottles. Let me show you what I had. And I've actually gone through now three different bottles, because of course they don't make one for this car. You got to have something that fits here. I don't like the factory looking one. It's just a big orange bubble. So what I did is I purchased a Mishimoto one. I think you guys saw it in an older video. And the Mishimoto one is for an S550. So that would have fit on this car if it was in a 2015 Mustang. But it didn't work. It fit right here. It looked really good. Had a nice satin black finish that matched the finish of the radiator really nicely. However, it didn't. The hood didn't close when the cap was on. So I found this one. This is from like a 2011. 12, 13, or something like that, Coyote Mustang, and it's got a big size notch here, along with your hose and everything here. So this one actually fits pretty good. The hood closes. I still don't like the wrinkle finish. It kind of sort of matches the plastic, but not really. It's a little too wrinkly for me. I just didn't really like it. But this was going to be the one I was going to use. It's going to have to come back here, and we'll have to make some mounting brackets for it. But I'll show you what else I've got here. So we got two options. We can use this one. This is a Canton tank. So I got rid of the Mishimoto tank. A guy online, I had it for sale, and a guy online hit me up and said, "Hey man, would you be willing to trade?" I said, "You know what? What do you got?" Well, I got a radium tank. And this thing is badass, dude. So this is small, I get that, but it has a sight glass. Notice the Canton tank does not have a sight glass. The Mishimoto one does, and of course the sight glass is nice. You can see how much freaking coolant's in it without opening the lid on it. So this is just a coolant expansion degas bottle. It has a really nice bracket on it, which also makes it nice, which means we can customize, make our own bracket, and put this kind of wherever we want. And a smaller footprint, this makes this thing be able to fit pretty much anywhere. So this thing, it's almost like it was meant to fit right here. But we also have to fit the fan in here as well. So it's going to go in here somewhere, in some way or another, some fashion or another. Even we can use utilize the factory notch here. All right, I'm going to move my air box here. Get it out of the way while we test fit some fans. Let's see if we can make this contour fan work here. All right, I got nothing to attach this to right now, but I think we're going to be best off getting this thing to work somehow. Okay, a few days later, I'm continuing on with our project here. Got the door closed. It seems to actually stay cooler in the garage with the door shut. But anyways, I decided I'm going to go ahead and use the contour fan just because it does blow a little bit more air. Now, interestingly, it looks like this DeWitts fan has these holes backwards. It's supposed to have holes on the back side. So unfortunately, we're going to have to drill through the back side of this plate here, create some holes to mount this. But I got some angle iron. I'm going to do this kind of the same thing I did whenever I created my mounts for my my fan. It's not the prettiest thing, but it'll work, and we'll paint it black so you don't really see it. But I'm going to cut this in half, and I think what we'll do is we'll be riveting on the top mounts on each side of the contour fan up top like this. Okay, so we'll rivet that on like so. Yep, and then we'll create a plastic, we'll create something to slide into the bottom tabs that stand off on the radiator here. All right, so right now I'm just kind of holding these guys in place, and what I'm going to do is try to get them down from the bottom of it now, and we can look and see here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's probably pretty decent sized gap here. And actually, now that I think about it, we're not going to have any fan speed going through our intercooler. Damn it. All right, I didn't like the placement of these contour fans being up so high towards the top, so I thought I'd go ahead and put it on the bench. Should have done this to begin with. Obviously, it's much easier to mount this and work with it while the radiator is flat. But I went and moved it down a little bit. Now I can work on some braces to go into here, to slide into here. Then I can also, work on some standoffs here. So I went ahead and riveted these, or drilled out the rivets, pulled out the brackets here that I was going to work with, and we're just going to simply make like a real simple strap to go underneath there, rivet on, paint it black, screw it into here on the edge, on the lip. That'll hold the top of it up. And then we'll do the same thing, kind of similar here on the bottom, just to hold itself inside, the standoffs. So, not to overthink it, I may use some plastic here. We could use this and do some plastic welding if we had to, but that's kind of thick, and I bought that for my air box. It's not for this project, but let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and move these mounts up here and then find a better way to, slide these into the standoffs. But I didn't like how high it was because there wasn't enough air being sucked through where the intercooler is going to be. But also, I like this position a little bit better. It gives me room here. One thing with the contour fans is because of the offset, this right here is where my tank's going to go. And this gives me a lot more room to work with whenever it comes time to putting in our little overflow tank right here. 94 in here. It's not too bad. I pretend like with the garage is closed, it's cool in here. I think it's because I don't see the sunlight or something, but I don't know. Whatever. Topo Chico. Love this stuff. Oh yeah, that's good. Addicted to Topo Chico. All right, pardon my mess. So, okay, these are bolted down. What I might want to do is put a washer underneath it. That'll help kind of hold it off. But actually, whenever I tighten it down, it's actually lifting up a little bit. So I was worried about this, rubbing over time and possibly putting a hole in the radiator. Otherwise, I could put some foam on it or something, but that's okay. The top ones are down. It's nice and strong, and honestly, this would be pretty good as it is. You can simply put one of those ties through here and call it a day, but we're not going to do that because that's not how we roll. So we can either build some sort of a standoff with aluminum and rivet it on just like we did on the other ones, just the reverse essentially, or we can use this plastic here. I'm thinking about cutting this plastic, making like a V shape out of it, just kind of giving it two legs and then epoxying it on, and that'll give it enough support just to to sit on here. Okay, heading to the store to get some epoxy, some plastic welding epoxy stuff. So this is what I created. These are the standoffs I created, and I notched it right there so it kind of slip underneath it, and it fits nice and tight. So that's cool, and it leaves us a nice gap. I went ahead and scuffed it up pretty good with some sandpaper, just 180 grit. And then yeah, so what's cool about this, I'll be able to just epoxy this on, and that'll give it some legs, something to feet, just something to hold on the bottom to. And if we ever replace it with another contour fan, we can slide this one out pretty easily, or put a different fan on it. It's either way, it's removable. It's not permanent to the radiator, and we're not welding anything onto it or anything crazy. So all right, we'll give this a shot. I don't typically like JB Weld stuff, but this apparently takes 15 minutes, and it's black, and it's what they had down the street, so we're gonna give it a shot. Comes with a mixing tray, and we're gonna need quite a bit to do all this, I guess, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it. Okay, this is thinner than I expected. All right, hey, mix thoroughly. Put gloves on. Cool. Let that sit up, see how this stuff works. All right, it's been a few hours. Went to dinner, watched a movie with my wife, and came back, check on this, and it is freaking solid, man. This is not going anywhere. But yeah, look, I mean, you can like lift the radiator with it, so it's not going anywhere. This is perfect. Yes, we got rain. Finally, good Lord, it has been months. In Texas, we got rain today, so it's a beautiful thing. Breaking the drought. So check it out, guys. Looks right at home. Looks pretty good, I must say. Yeah, it fits great. Hides in there well. Brackets work good. I like how you can't really see the brackets. They're just really nicely hidden. And look how much room this is now giving us here for this overflow tank. So I've got lots of places, lots of options here, but what's cool about it is these holes right here kind of line right up to this, so I could easily just make a aluminum bracket, bend it over here, and then put it right here. This is a perfect spot for it. It's not touching the intake. It's close, but it's not touching, and it's right up front, and all the access to all the stock hoses will be perfect for it. So I think that's where we're gonna go. I've got a stock bracket here. It'd be cool to use this just because it looks cool. Half the work's kind of done for me because it's got the mounting holes here for the overflow tank, the expansion tank. What I might be able to do is I'm gonna try to heat this up a little bit and try to actually bend this down. If I can get these two bent, you know, parallel to these, I know it's gonna be a big bend for this aluminum without breaking it, but if I can get these bent parallel to these top brackets here, then this will be a perfect spot to mount it straight to the radiator and utilize this cool bracket. Probably gonna break. We'll see. You gotta be really careful with this stuff. I'm gonna heat it up a little bit. First, we're gonna pound it kind of flat, and then we're gonna try to bend the other way. I'll have to put a fresh coat of paint on it because I'm gonna just completely ruin this powder coat, but it's worth a shot versus, you know, fabricating, making something else. So, see what we can do with it. Yeah, I mangled this up. Now, yes, I could probably put some body filler on this, clean this up, machine it flat, make it look kind of cool, do something with it to make it stand out, I guess, but I've got a lot of the imperfections out and the hammer marks out just by grinding it. Try to keep it as level, as plain as possible, and just trying to kind of grind out some of my hammer marks, trying to smooth it out. I think what I'm going to do now is put it in the sandblaster, get the rust of the paint off, and if I have to use a little bit of body filler, even some of that epoxy we used, and to fill in this low spot, we can do that as well. Sand it flat and then give it a good coat of paint. I think the epoxy will hold up better than Bondo because there's going to be, you know, screws on here. This is going to be pressed up against the radiator, but let's look first to see how it's going to look. Let's just go ahead and sandblast it, see how it looks, see if I can't get some of these sand marks out and smoothed out with the sandblaster. Yeah, see what happens. All right, so I actually drilled new holes in this because two reasons. One, lowering it down hides that line into this. Secondly, it lowers it down just a little bit. I think the tank was a little bit too high. I was going to hit the hood, but let's just do a test fit here, see what it looks like. Ooh, I like this. This is cool looking, man. We know this hose will go here, and we'll have a hose go from there to the bottom there. So let's, oh yeah, dude. Oh man, what do you guys think, huh? That's pretty awesome. This one actually goes into the bottom one, but man, that's pretty good. That thing was beat to crap, and the sandblast covered up a lot of the marks, and so did the sanding. I think even so, after we paint it black, actually, what do you think? Should we paint it black or leave it? It looks kind of cool, sandblasted, raw, bare aluminum. Really stands out, almost a little too much. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Leave in the comments. All right, let's clean up this thing. At least get it somewhat presentable. Jesus, somewhat. I like the black. I like the black theme. It looks cool. I'll let it dry overnight. This is the next day here, so just kind of wrapping it up here. Got these bolted down nice and tight to the radiator. We need to get the other radiator support on. You can't see it, but on this side it's not even on right now, so the radiator's kind of wiggly. We'll get that done as well. Tighten those up and hook up our hoses. Pretty cool. This is going to go on here like so. All right. Man, I am loving the weather out here. Guys, I'm so sorry I've been absent. I'm just having a hard time with the weather being so hot. A lot of stuff going on at work. Yeah, we also bought some property, and in the midst of buying property, I have been taking care of it. So it's a good thing. A lot of good things happening with the family, but unfortunately, everything takes time. And yeah, I am so ready to get back on this thing. It's been too hot to work in the garage on EgoBruise, but man, I am just stoked. All right, so we've got the line here that is going to the return. And I think I've got a hose here. So HPS, you know, I bought the whole kit for like a 2015 EcoBoost Mustang. Came with everything, upper, lower radiator hose. And I've got a bunch of these hoses left because I want to try to use the stock hoses, you know, like for the upper and lower, you know, if I can. So this one, I want to see if this will fit. I think I can actually use this. It may actually work out perfect on that bend. And then we could hopefully snake this side down here in this fitting. This is like a... I don't know, that's a pretty extreme bend, but hopefully this is going to work and it'll just go right down here, and we could hug the top of the fans with that line, get it out of the way. So let's see what we can do here. That'll kind of complete all the lines going to the tank. And again, this is for mock-up, guys. We are not gonna put hose clamps on anything. It actually sits right in that groove. That's pretty rad. Let's see what we can do here.
It is like it's meant to be, man.
Into here. Dang, that looks perfect. Look at that. So that kind of wraps around here. That is going to go back to your return. Again, the capless tank. Thank you again, DeWitts, for that. This is an awesome looking tank. Bring this around. That'll hug the top of the fan, and then go right into the rear return here. So you can see it right there. I don't have it all the way in, but there it is. It's going to fit. The only other line we have now to complete the cooling system is this right here. This is in case the system is overfilled or expansions, and it comes to the point where it expands in the expansion tank to the point where it's got nowhere else to go. It's just going to spew out here. So ideally what you want to do is put a hose here and then drape it down so that it hits the ground, not over your engine bay, which is what we'll do with this thing here. That's how they are when you buy these from factory Mustang as well. But oh my God, look at this thing, guys. Holy crap. It's coming together, man. It is slowly coming together. We got so much to do. I've got a video coming up soon. In fact, right when I get done with this, I'm gonna go straight into videoing on the Volvo power steering pump. Yep, got a video on it. And there's another, you know what? I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you about it next video. But we got lots to do. I gotta put the intercooler in. We gotta do wiring. Now is a good time to go ahead and start the wiring. That's gonna pretty much complete the entire engine bay as far as mock-up. At this point, we can start tearing things apart, putting it back on the shelf. I still have to figure out the AC. I'm not 100% happy with this, but I wanna see how the intercooler fits first. But we'll start tearing everything apart. Then again, we're gonna smooth everything out here with Bondo, and we're gonna go ahead and shoot the engine bay with our Avalanche Gray, of course, because this car is going to be Avalanche Gray. It's going to be beautiful. Shoot it Avalanche Gray, and then we'll go ahead and do some sort of a black, probably, coat just for the undercoating down here. And then we start working on fuel, suspension, electronics, cross member, hopefully Stiflers helps me out with the cross member. And then we'll get that hooked up, drive shafts. I got the 8.8 rear end over there, and then we start pulling this car out, doing body work, getting ready for paint. Okay, we're getting there. It's a long road ahead of us, but we're getting there. I want to take a second to give a big shout out and thank you to DeWitts Radiators. Guys, they made this custom for this car. Again, they will make this radiator for you if you have a Coyote, a Godzilla, or modern 4-inch swap, and you want to utilize the stock style expansion tanks. Okay, you can get yourself a capless radiator like I did. I love it. It's clean. It looks so awesome. The black finish is amazing on it, and they custom tailored it to exactly my needs. And you can see here, it fits just perfectly. So it's great. Custom lower radiator outlet again to fit the EcoBoost motor. And yeah, man, thank you DeWitts for that. Guys, listen, I'm gonna wrap this up. Listen, hey, if you want to follow me on Instagram, make sure to do that at houseofdoula.com or houseofdoula, hashtag houseofdoula. Go to houseofdoula.com. I should have said that first. Go to houseofdoula.com. Make sure to check out the channel's website. Okay, it's got all the stuff in there, all the videos in there. It's got my Instagram feed, one spot. That's kind of cool. And you got your merch. If you want to go get yourself a House Doula t-shirt, you can do that as well. Okay, hey, listen, that's it. Thank y'all for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. I know I'm not putting out as much content as I like to be. Working on that. We'll get there. Just a busy life, and it's been hot in Texas. So stick with me. Look at this, huh? So pretty. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care. Get started at DeWitts.com for your custom modern radiator build, and don't forget to use code HOUSE10 for 10% off all online orders. Again, thanks for watching.